Francis Coralie Mullin vs. The Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi. Parties: Plaintiff Francis Coralie Mullin. Defendant the Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi. Facts: Francis Coralie Mullin, a foreign national, was detained under the Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities, COFEPOSA, Act, 1974. Mullin, who had been residing in India, was accused of smuggling activities and was subsequently arrested and detained under preventive detention laws. The detention order was issued by the Administrator of the Union Territory of Delhi under the authority granted by the COFEPOSA Act, which allows preventive detention to preserve the country's economic interests. Mullin's wife filed a habeas corpus petition in the Supreme Court, challenging the detention on the grounds that it violated the right to life and personal liberty guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. She argued that her husband's detention was unconstitutional, as he was denied basic human dignity, including the right to meet family members and access legal counsel. The case raised important constitutional questions regarding the scope of Article 21, particularly whether preventive detention could justify the violation of fundamental human rights such as communication with family and legal counsel. Additionally, the case sought clarification on the meaning of life and personal liberty in light of the Maneka Gandhi judgment. Issues before the court: whether preventive detention under COFEPOSA could be justified if it violates the detainee's basic human rights; whether the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution includes the right to live with human dignity, and whether this extends to the right of detainees to communicate with family and legal counsel. To what extent can preventive detention laws limit the detainee's right to life and personal liberty under Article 21? Decision of the Court. The Supreme Court delivered a landmark ruling, significantly expanding the interpretation of Article 21. The court held that the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 includes the right to live with human dignity and is not limited merely to physical existence. The court ruled that basic human rights, such as the right to communicate with family members and legal counsel, must be respected even when a person is detained under preventive detention laws. The court recognized that while preventive detention is permissible under the Constitution in specific circumstances, it cannot be an excuse to strip a detainee of their dignity or the fundamental right to humane treatment. The detention must meet the criteria of reasonableness and fairness, as mandated by the principles set forth in Maneka Gandhi v. Union of India, 1978. The court acknowledged that the government had the right to detain individuals to prevent activities that threaten national security or economic stability. However, it clarified that this power is not absolute. The principles of natural justice, especially the right to communicate with family and legal representatives, must be preserved, as these are essential for maintaining the dignity of the detainee. In light of these principles, the court directed that Mullin must be allowed to meet his family and have access to legal counsel, thereby affirming that the scope of Article 21 includes more than just mere physical survival. Case analysis. The Francis Coralie Mullin v. Union Territory of Delhi case played a crucial role in further expanding the scope of Article 21, building upon the progressive interpretation established in the Maneka Gandhi judgment. The Supreme Court's ruling in this case solidified the idea that the right to life and personal liberty is not limited to mere survival or freedom from physical restraint but extends to the right to live with dignity and decency. This case underscored that preventive detention laws, while necessary in certain circumstances, cannot be used to deny detainees their fundamental rights. The judgment made it clear that the state must balance its powers of preventive detention with the need to uphold human dignity and the basic tenets of natural justice. By affirming that Article 21 includes the right to communicate with family and legal counsel, the court ensured that detainees are not completely cut off from the outside world. This was a significant ruling in preventing the abuse of preventive detention laws, which, if unchecked, could lead to severe human rights violations. The case also highlighted the importance of judicial oversight in cases of preventive detention. The court's decision reflected the judiciary's role in safeguarding individual liberties, particularly in situations where executive power is used to curtail personal freedom. By requiring that detention be reasonable, fair, and non-arbitrary, the judgment reinforced the importance of the rule of law and due process in the functioning of the state. Importance. The Francis Coralie Mullin case is significant for several reasons. Expanded interpretation of Article 21. The ruling built upon the Maneka Gandhi case to further expand the scope of Article 21. It established that the right to life is not confined to mere physical existence but includes the right to live with dignity. The court clarified that the state has a duty to ensure that the dignity of individuals is respected, even in cases of preventive detention. Right to communication with family and legal counsel. The case affirmed that detainees have a fundamental right to communicate with family members and legal counsel, even while in preventive detention. This recognition is critical in preventing the isolation and possible abuse of detainees under such laws. The judgment set a precedent for safeguarding the rights of detainees under preventive detention. Limitations on preventive detention. The case is important in curbing the potential misuse of preventive detention laws. While the court did not invalidate preventive detention, it imposed limits on how such laws can be applied. The ruling ensured that the principles of natural justice must be upheld even when the state uses its power to detain individuals without trial. Judicial review of executive actions. This case reinforced the role of the judiciary in reviewing executive actions, particularly those that restrict personal liberty. The judgment stressed that preventive detention laws must be subject to judicial scrutiny to ensure that they comply with constitutional safeguards and do not violate the fundamental rights of individuals. Human dignity as a fundamental right. The case established human dignity as an integral part of the right to life under Article 21. By linking the right to life with the right to dignity, the court broadened the scope of fundamental rights protection in India, ensuring that all state actions affecting personal liberty must meet the test of fairness, reasonableness, and respect for human dignity. Legacy. The principles established in this case continue to influence the Indian judiciary's approach to interpreting Article 21. The judgment has been cited in numerous subsequent cases involving the protection of human rights, particularly in cases where the state exercises its powers of preventive detention or curtails personal liberty for reasons of national security or public interest. In conclusion, the Francis Coralie Mullin case significantly contributed to the evolving jurisprudence on fundamental rights in India. It reasserted the judiciary's commitment to upholding human dignity and ensuring that preventive detention laws are not misused to violate individual liberties. The case remains a key precedent in protecting the rights of detainees and ensuring that the state's powers are exercised within the bounds of constitutional safeguards.